Hello everyone, I'll get started in just a moment. Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics on my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and that's certainly the case for the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how our market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding expected trading range and volatility for the day as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And when I talk about setups, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset as well as the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I do my best to answer your questions. All right, everyone, that's my introduction. I try to get through that as quickly as possible. I can see folks in YouTube dropping off. Not sure what you expect, but I do want to introduce myself and what I'm going to talk about every day. But I do try to get through that as quickly as possible. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, March 5th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings for the week, for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. I'll do that as quickly as possible so we can get to the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, everyone, I want to show you what you're interested in. If you're more interested in indices, the S&P 500, NASDAQ, please let me know. If you're more interested in stocks, please let me know as well. All right, let's get started with news items, economic data, and events. Let's take a look at the S&P 500, the ES futures and Bookmap. Go back to ES. So this is the S&P 500 futures and Bookmap. Pretty choppy day, wild range. That's been typical the last few days. All right, let's talk about events and earnings now. So first of all, PMI data did come out this morning. The S&P Global Services PMI at 945, and the ISM Services PMI at 10 a.m. Both were greater than expected, greater than the previous number, also greater than 50, indicating expansion. And there was a pretty sharp move in the S&P 500 to the 10 a.m. data. That's the ISM data. Typically is more of a market mover than the S&P Global. So there's the reaction to the ISM PMI data. Overall, pretty choppy action today, price action. The market is very sensitive to news about tariffs, of course. And there was news yesterday afternoon about Commerce Secretary indicated there could be a potential change in tariffs maybe to Canada and Mexico. So that that news, again, is what is primarily driving the market now. All right, so that is the news items for today. And for the remainder of the week, jobless claims tomorrow. And then on Friday, the big data report of the week is the jobs report, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then Jerome Powell will be speaking at 12:30 p.m. So that's on Friday, jobs report and Powell speaking in the afternoon. All right, let's continue on now, move on to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. So again, this is the ES Futures and Bookmap, and I want to take a look at a higher time frame. Hello, Dan P. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, let's take a look at a higher time frame for the S&P 500. And note, yesterday, the S&P 500, SPX, let me zoom in on this. So this is a 1 year, 1 day chart in Thinkorswim. I'm going to zoom in on the last few months. This is the gap up after the November election. And yesterday, SPX closed that gap. And basically, since the election, or actually before, SPX has consolidated, been in a pretty wide range, big swings up and down, consolidation range. All right, so that is the 1 year, 1 day chart. And let's take a look now at a little bit lower time frame. Let's go to a 1 hour chart. This is SPX, a 30-day 1 hour chart. You can see yesterday, SPX did break below and close that election gap. And let's take a look at the levels on this chart. So first of all, let's start with expected moves. Dashed purple line showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last week, last Friday. SPX is trading below that level. On Tuesday, that level acted as resistance. So that's the lower weekly expected move. Again, SPX trading below that level. Now the expected moves for the day, the daily expected moves, there's the lower daily expected move, and then the upper daily expected move is right at the same level as the lower weekly expected move, so you can't see that. So the weekly expected moves with the dashed purple lines and the daily expected moves with the dashed blue lines, again, the lower weekly expected move is at the same level as the upper daily expected move. So SPX trading below, again, the expected move for the week, but within the range for the day. All right, let's take a look at the Spotgamma levels on this chart. These are the dark red lines. These are provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They're available on a variety of trading platforms. They're based on gamma-weighted open interest. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 5,700. That's a strike with largest net negative gamma. that can be expected to act as support. Note that level did move down from yesterday. So in the last week or so, the put wall has moved down from 5,900 to 5,800, where it remained for several days, now down to 5,700. And that is the only SPX level that did move lower. All right, so the next level up is 6,000. That's the volatility trigger, the key daily levels. That's the volatility trigger. Also the absolute gamma strike. The volatility trigger is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma and volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. More about that in just a couple of minutes. So SPX trading firmly below that volatility trigger in a very negative gamma market, and looking for wider swings, bigger trends, bigger movement altogether in a negative gamma environment. Then the call wall remains at 6,200. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance, and that is certainly not in play for today. All right, so those are the Spotgamma levels. Again, a 30-day 1-hour chart, thinkorswim. And let's wrap up our view of SPX with a wrong chart. There's SPY. Yeah, we'll take a look at SPY. Spotgamma levels definitely in play for today. For SPY, combo level in play here. Round number level 573. Almost to the tick, acting as support. All right, so that's SPY. Now let's go back to SPX. That's a 1-minute chart. SPX. All right, there's the right chart. All right, so remember the wild swings that I mentioned. Big rally Friday afternoon. A little bit of a gap up on Monday. And then SPX proceeded to drop a little over 250 points. That's from Monday, just at the open, down to Tuesday morning, 250 point drop. Big rally in the afternoon, then a drop in the afternoon, or actually mid-morning, rally up, big drop again. Looked like a bit of a consolidation this morning. And still, compared with the last few days, SPX definitely in a consolidation range, trading right around 5,800. All right, so this is today the dark shaded portion on the right. And around this combo 4 level, acting as support. And again, here's the 5,800 level. Right now, SPX chopping up and down around that level. And again, remember the volatility trigger is way above at 6,000. So again, SPX firmly below the volatility trigger at 6,000. All right, back to Bookmap now. Wild swings today. And this move down began right around 5 a.m. before the cash open. And then some more volatility. So for those of you who trade pre-market, very nice trends. That's very typical of pre-market, very nice trends up or down. And that was certainly the case today. And then chop after the cash open, actually beginning right around 9 a.m. So let's zoom in on the more current price action. Around 11 a.m., ES broke down below this kind of wedge pattern here, down to the lower daily expected move. That's the lower daily expected move for ES. Also this SPX, there's that 57.49 combo 4 level, support level. That was noted as support in the AM Founders note. Then a rally all the way up to SPY 581. That's just a round number level. Those round number levels for SPY do play a big role. That's important to show those in your chart, I think. My opinion. You can see there I've shown hundreds of examples of how ES reacts at SPY round number levels. All right, let's take a note in the ES chart. I do have SPX levels that I mentioned before. On my chart, there's SPX, the 5749 support level. There's 5800. I also have SPY levels on this chart, and I do post the index relationships, the differences, the ratio between ES and SPY, and the difference in ES and SPX. I do post those index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord, and again, they are important. Right now, the ES to SPX difference looks like it is somewhere between 8 and 9 points, and I believe I'm using 8 right now. So I'm showing SPX 5800 at ES 5808. So you know when that ES to SPX difference gets down to single digits, that rollover is approaching. All right, so those are the levels in play. We'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. Similar chart. Hello, Rob. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so similar chart. Nice steady downtrend that began about 5 a.m. And then the chop really increased at around 9 a.m. Let's zoom into current price action. So before the cash open, right around QQQ, 501 acted as resistance. And the NQ also moved down, traded down to its lower daily expected move. And note, I do post the expected moves for SPX in Discord, and I don't post the expected moves for ES and NQ, but I do mark those on my chart. And I get that information the exact same way from an options chain that I get the SPX expected moves. All right, so let's take a look at the underlying index charts real quick for NQ, and then we'll get back to Bookmap. So I'm going to start with QQQ. $500 level. And actually, let me zoom out just a little bit here. All right, so there's the 501 level that I mentioned earlier, acting as resistance before the cash open, steady downtrend. QQQ 500 is the absolute gamma strike. Acting as resistance right around 12:45, 1 o'clock. 500 absolute gamma strike, then a combo level just below that. All right, so those are the QQQ levels. Let's take a look at NDX, the other underlying index for NASDAQ. Then we'll get back to NQ. All right, so there were two Spotgamma levels binding or above and below NDX. Looks like NDX is traded up to the upper level, and that is the 20,536 combo 3 level. That level acting as resistance earlier today. And that's right here, this combo 3 level for NDX. So just like the S&P 500, the QQQ and NDX levels do matter for NASDAQ. All right, back to Bookmap now. Let's zoom in on current price action. All right, so those the levels acting as resistance. The QQQ 500 absolute gamma strike, the 536 combo level. Note also here the QQQ 498 acting as resistance. And again, the NQ, lower daily expected move, acting as support. And then again, resistance. Looks like NASDAQ is trying to make its way back up to that cluster of levels there. All right, so that is those are the levels in play for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Let's take a quick look at Gamma, and then we'll get to the a few setups in the live market. All right, so let's start with Gamma notional at the beginning of the day, market maker's position on the Gamma curve. And I look at this to get a sense of how the S&P 500 and NASDAQ may move during the day. Am I looking for higher volatility, lower volatility, trading range, or trending market? And today, Gamma notional was quite negative. This is market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. For the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, all these numbers are negative. Again, indicating market maker's position on the Gamma curve is negative. That means traders are long puts, market makers are short puts. They have to trade with price to edge their delta exposure. Let's take a real-time look at Trace now. So a real-time look at Gamma with the Trace tool. So this red shading indicates negative Gamma. And this is real-time Gamma. This is updated every 10 minutes. Let's step back in time. Let's take a look. Let's just go to about 10 minutes after the cash open. Red shading, prominent strikes, the GEX strikes, Gamma exposure here. This is what Spotgamma calls Captain Condor. This is some large trader or traders putting on these 0 DTE options trades. They're actually put on the day before. So they would be put on as one DTE, 1 day to expiration, iron condors the day before. And so what this is, up above, the traders have a short call vertical, and below a short put vertical, and the traders want price to remain within that range to make the full profit. So they're looking to profit on time decay of options. And as long as price remains within those bounds, the short call vertical, short call on the top, and the short put on the lower range, they make full profit. All right, so within SPX, within that range, SPX and negative Gamma, very low stability index. In this situation, I'm looking for a lot of movement today. Let's step through time. And keep an eye on the GEX bars on the left. So you notice as price was moving away from the call spread, the Gamma was decreasing. As price moves away, Gamma is greatest at expiration at the money. And now as price is moving up, that short put vertical is diminishing, and that trader could be taking some of that off, taking profits. So let's go to real time now. Looks like a little bit of positive Gamma, pocket of positive Gamma up above as price approaches that. This is the trader's short call strike. So for the market makers who take the opposite side of the trades, this would be long calls. So they would be long calls. So if price moves through this, the trader is short this call vertical. They want price to remain below. But if price does move up, the market makers do profit from that, since they are long that long call vertical. And you can see that is the strike. The strike is 58.40, and that's where this pocket of positive Gamma is located at that strike. We'll take a closer look at this in just a few minutes. So let's move on now. So we know that gamma is quite negative, looking for a lot of movement today. And again, in a market that is very sensitive to news, especially about tariffs. Stability index remains at 5%. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at some setups now. And I'm going to start with the S&P 500 and take a look at what options traders have been doing today. This is the S&P 500 hero signal. This is the index hero signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the S&P 500 index components. That's SPX, SPY, ES Futures, and XSP. And there are two signals that we can take a look at for the S&P 500. This is the index signal again. There's also the equity signal. And this is the way that Spotgamma recommends looking at these tools, and I agree completely, is the index signal is a better marker for turning points in the market, trading these peaks. And then the equity signal is often better for the overall trend. That's how to use these two signals. So back to the index signal, and just the white line is price for SPX, and the purple line is the hero signal. Sloterazi says the Fed beige book released in 4 minutes. Yeah, we'll take a look and see if there's any movement. That's typically not a high up impact event. All right, so let's zoom in. So in the morning, remember, price action was very choppy. And these peaks, especially the upper peaks here, are marked very nice entry points for shorts. Again, this is the index signal showing the key turning points. So that was at right around 9:40, 9:45, just after 10, 10:05, and 10:40. So 9:40, 10:05, and 10:40. Let's go to Bookmap. Let's zoom in. We'll take a quick look at these shorts. All right, first, first 9:40, right there. Green volume dots show market buy minus sell, more aggressive buyers. Volume dots, again, market buy minus sell. Green dots, more buyers than sellers. Magenta dots, more sellers than buyers. Price reverses lower at VWAP as aggressive sellers come in and the buyers are exhausted. Price moves down to the 575 level. That is SPY 575, large gamma 4 level. There was another V in the hero signal for the index. Price reverses sharply higher just before the 10 a.m. data, and then a big jump after the release of the 10 a.m. data. Another peak in the hero signal. And that was the right around the 1010, 1005, 1010. Price reverses lower, kind of a head and shoulder patterns here. Price reverses lower. And then there's the 1040 short. And then more entry points along this trend line here. All right, back to hero now. Zoom out just a bit. And then the index signal showing a series of lower highs. Again, remember that on that downtrend. Price breaks down lower until this reversal just before noon. All right, let's take a look at the equity signal now. So we know that the index signal was giving us clues about the key turning points. And now the equity signal was making a series of lower highs, confirming the move lower. All right, equity signal also showing a, looks like block order here. And that was most likely one or more of the Mag 7 stocks. All right, so speaking of Mag 7 stocks, now let's go back and take a look at Bookmap and look at this turnaround so we know the equity signal started to turn around right around 11:45. Then kind of an institutional kickoff there with that large block order. Back to the index signal and starts to move higher at the same time. All right, let's go take a look at the clues in Bookmap, then we'll move on to NASDAQ. Oops. Thought I'd turn that off. All right, so there's that turnaround. Again, this is the ES lower daily expected move. Around that level, acts as support. And you can see all the aggressive buyers coming in. Large green volume dots. And price moves up as the hero signals for both the index and equities start to move higher. Cumulative volume delta shown by the dark blue line starts to rise. Also, buy stop orders help to fuel that move higher. That's shown by the rising yellow line. And the S&P 500 continues to move higher. A little bit of chop around that 5,800 level. We were looking at that on the SPX chart, chop around that SP 5,800 level, and now price moving higher. And let's go back and take a look at Hero now. Hero signal continues to rise for the index. And equities. And note I have the total signal shown here. I thought that was a little bit more clear today, just to see the puts and calls combined into the total signal. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. All right, the NASDAQ signal, I did not find this was as clear today as the S&P 500 signals, both the S&P 500 index and equity signals. Let's take a look at Mag 7. All right, I don't know if anybody else is having any problems with the Mag 7 signal. I got that error message earlier today. Still the case. Let's go back to the NASDAQ signal. So earlier in the day, we'll zoom in real quick. NASDAQ, I think, a little bit of a lag here. Price started to move down before the index signal. A little bit of a lead here. That's right around 10:05. And then a little bit of a lead again for this move higher that began right around noon. All right, so let's go to NASDAQ and Bookmap. All right, so there's that move down right around 10:05. Aggressive sellers starting to come in. You can see the magenta volume dots. And price moves down to the Again, the lower daily expected move reverses higher. And as Suresh pointed out, there was a large execution of iceberg orders. That's shown by that the dark, light blue line. I'm sorry, light blue line. Large traders buying with iceberg orders at the NQ lower daily expected move. And thank you, Suresh, for pointing that out. Again, just like the S&P 500, aggressive buyers start to come in. A lot of green volume dots, big green volume dots, and price continues to move higher. All right, back to Hero. The one code 7 says, I had the same issue on the Mag 7 on Hero. Thank you very much for confirming that. Yeah, that's been going on. All right, so the indexes continue to rise. Let's take one look at Hero, one quick look at Hero, and then we'll move on to take a look at some stocks, then the live market. All right, so again, Hero, very nice leading indicator for this move higher that began right around noon or 11:50, 12 o'clock, something like that. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at some stocks. First of all, I want to take a quick look at a couple of Mag 7 stocks, and then want to take a look at a couple of watch list stocks. All right, so the first stock I want to take a look at is Apple. And I'm going to stick with the total signal here. We'll jump real quick, go to puts and calls. So you can see in the morning traders were buying puts. That's shown by that's why I don't like to jump back and forth. Let's go back to Apple. All right, so traders were selling calls and buying puts. Calls shown with the orange line, puts shown with the blue line. Falling lines indicate traders again selling calls, buying puts, negative delta positions. Price moves lower. Let's shift back to the total signal now. I'm going to have to jump back. All right, so the Apple, this is a bearish opening drive. And this is a pattern that I like to look for, either bullish or bearish opening drive. Very simple pattern, very reliable. And just a few minutes after the cash open, traders started taking negative delta options positions. Flow alert comes in just a couple of minutes later to confirm the significant option activity, and price moves lower. Very simple pattern, not like all the chop in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let's go to Apple. So initially bearish opening drive, first 30 minutes, some chop, then a continuation down to the 230 level. And then this is when the indexes started to turn around just before noon. Note the high liquidity in the order book here at 230. Those are limit buy orders acting as a magnet for price. And let's see what options traders are doing now. Bearish opening drive. And then just continuation on down until about 11:45 at that 230 level. Apple finds support. Then traders start taking positive delta positions, and price moves higher, and the indexes move higher at the same time. All right, another stock I want to take a look at is Tesla. Let's quickly scan through some of the other Mag 7 stocks. Pretty choppy day here in Amazon until price started to move higher again with everything else right around noon. Same with Google, choppy morning and price reverses higher around noon. Meta, same thing. More bullish day here in Microsoft, and let's zoom in on this just a bit. So in the morning there was a bullish opening drive. Microsoft was pretty choppy, and then traders have continued to take positive delta positions of Microsoft all day. Let's take a look at Microsoft and Bookmap here. Bit of chop in the morning, and then again right before noon is when the hero signal started to rise and price really starts to move higher. All right, that's Microsoft. Back to hero. NVIDIA. Choppy morning at NVIDIA. Tesla. Tesla, if you're going to trade in a trading range, choppy trading range, using hero as a guide, Tesla is often the best stock to trade of the Mag 7. Very choppy in the morning. And again, the peaks marking key turning points in Tesla for shorts and longs. Here, hero was lagging a little bit. And Tesla began to turn around just before noon like the other Mag 7 stocks. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. To Tesla. So more trending trades in Apple bearish and Microsoft bullish, and chop in the morning in Tesla. With hero helping to mark the key turning points. All right, let's take a look at some watch list stocks now. And I have been posting this in, let me change this. I've been posting this in Discord every day in the morning before the cash open. And let's take a look at a couple of stocks here. And I'm ranking this by percent change open. So this is the percent change after the open. And note that this stock, AST Space Mobile, was up pretty sharply yesterday, over 20%, almost the same today. And that was on my watch list yesterday as well. And that is a small cap stock recently added to hero at my request. Great stock to trade today. Again, if you're looking for a stock that can move up or down 20% during the day, this is a great stock. It moved up from 25 to a little bit over 30 yesterday, and now trading up close to 34. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. So these are the stocks on my watch list today. And then CrowdStrike, we'll take a look at that as well. And that's up slightly for the day, but down overall from the close yesterday, 6.5%. And another stock that reported earnings, Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't have that in Bookmap, and that is also down for the day. Also, although it is positive from the open. All right, so let's take a look at ASTS. It's been a very nice trading stock, day trading stock, and a good swing trading stock as well. And again, I did post the setup in AST from yesterday. I did post that in Discord as well as X. Classic bullish opening drive, very similar pattern to yesterday. Bullish opening drive, then chop, then a little bit of a move higher again in the afternoon. Looks like I need to shift my price lines levels. All right, so let's go take a look at Hero and see what options traders have been doing in AST. Again, classic bullish opening drive. Let's shift to puts and calls. And you can see this is a call-driven move, just like yesterday. Let me do a quick check of that. Call-driven, just like yesterday, although there were some put sellers in the morning yesterday. Call-driven, traders buy calls. We'll take a look at crowd in just a minute. Traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And again, I gave you notice of the potential for the stock yesterday and today before the cash opened. Something to watch out for. Key gamma strike moved up from 25 yesterday to 30 today. That's bullish. Call wall up at 35. Looks like price may be trying to head up to that level. Again, traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. Classic opening drive pattern, very simple pattern, very reliable. When you see traders buying calls like this, this is a great long setup. Again, unlike all the chop in the indexes, a very clean, simple set up for a 20% plus move yesterday and close to the same today. Cumulative volume delta rising all day. You can see all the green volume dots. Dark blue line, aggressive traders buying. 35 is the call wall. 30 key gamma strike, price breaks above that. And now it looks like trying to head to the 35 call wall. All right, let's take a look at CrowdStrike. So ASTS reported earnings day before. CrowdStrike reported earnings yesterday after the close. Price is recovering now. Slightly positive for the day, as we saw on the watch list. But this was a bearish opening drive. And then price reversed higher. Down through the 345 strike. Limit buy orders at that level. And then the buyers came in, rising cumulative volume delta. Let's see what options traders are doing. Back to Hero, go to CrowdStrike. Let's zoom in on this just a bit. Again, I have puts and calls separated out. So you can see in the morning, traders are selling calls, that's shown by the falling orange line. They were also buying puts. And when the put buyers took their foot off the gas, that's when price started to move higher. So bearish opening drive, continuation pattern with blue line, orange line moving the same direction. Put buyers take the foot off the gas and price starts to reverse higher. Then right around 11 o'clock, the call sellers took their foot off the gas. And then the aggressive buyers are starting to move, have been moving CrowdStrike higher. All right, so maybe finding a little bit of resistance at 365. Let's go back, take a look at Hero. I'm going to shift to the total signal. So now the total signal is turning down a little bit. 370 is the put wall, hedge wall. All right, let's take a look at the any questions about stocks. Does anyone have any other stocks they want me to take a look at? I'll be glad to do that. All right, what do you guys want to take a look at? Back to the indexes. All right, so this is the S&P 500 index signal starting to turn down just a little bit. Let's check the equity signal. flattening out a little bit. Let's go to Bookmap. Back to the S&P 500 ES. All right, so finding resistance right around the SPY 584 level, right there. Aggressive sellers starting to come in. Looks like large traders have been fading this move. With iceberg orders, they use to hide their size. And that's shown by the falling blue line, light blue line. And let's zoom out just a bit. So net for the day, I just want to take a look at the iceberg orders. Large traders have been fading this move all day. That's shown by the falling light blue line. Large traders use iceberg orders to hide their size. This is pretty typical. Large traders fading the boost. They're selling strength and buying weakness. Net for the day, since I opened Bookmap right around 6:30 or so, iceberg orders falling. All right, so maybe this is just a pullback or beginning of a reversal lower. All right, Stephen wants to take a look at SMCI, and the one code 7 wants to take a look at NVIDIA. Sure, be glad to do that. Let's start with SMCI. I do not have that on this computer. I have that on Bookmap on another computer. So let's go take a look at SMCI. SMCI, great day trading stock. Looks like a little bit of a bullish opening drive here. Certainly not as clean as ASTS, but a bullish opening drive. Peak pattern. Price of reverses lower. Another peak pattern. Price of reverses lower again. And pretty much consolidating after that. So that's SMCI. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA now. And very choppy day here in NVIDIA. Let's take a look at order flow for Bookmap. I find a chart like this, a hero chart like this, a little bit difficult to trade. So much chop, up and down. I definitely prefer something like this. Much, much easier to trade. All right, let's go back to NVIDIA. Let's take a look at Bookmap. Go to NVIDIA. There have been a lot of aggressive buyers in NVIDIA today. You can see all the green volume dots coming in, especially after around 11 a.m. Choppy price range as traders take positive and negative delta options positions. Overall cumulative volume delta rising for the day. All right, let's go back to the indexes. Does anyone else have any stocks they want me to take a look at? I'll be glad to do that. Otherwise, let's go back to the indexes. Go back to S&P 500. That looks like that was just a pullback. And now ES back to its lower weekly expected move. Let's take a look at Hero again. Then we'll take a look at Trace. See if we can get some clues for an end of day movement. All right, so again, the equity signal flattening out there. Index signal starting to move higher again. Let's take a look at Trace. All right, so Trace is now showing that SPX is trading right around 58.40. That's that pocket of positive gamma that I mentioned earlier at this positive gamma strike. That's market maker's position, 58.40. All right, so this is actually showing SPX right now trading at 58.48. So let's check. Let's check our SPX chart. All right, so that is, again, SPX trading up to its upper daily expected move and also the lower weekly expected move. We'll zoom in on this just a little bit. All right, so those two lines above, lower weekly expected move, upper daily expected move, acting as resistance. Let's take a look at charm pressure. All right, so likely pin target, that's at, this is showing it at 58.35. That's between the blue buying support below and the red selling pressure above. In between there, that's 58.35, pretty close to that 58.40 strike. So right now, it looks like, and here's actually, let's take a look at, this is just a representation of that short iron condor. It was profitable, and I just guessed at a price here. It was profitable earlier in the day, so now it looks like this will be close to a full loss if price continues to move higher. So it looks like this iron condor, Captain Condor, will be a 3-time loser if price continues to move higher today. All right, so likely pin target first at 58.35, next up here at 58.70. And again, remember, it is to market makers' benefit to trade up above this, in their case, a long call vertical. So two likely pin targets, 58.35 and 58.70. And Stephen asked, what is the objective of an iron condor? To make money based on time decay, the time decay of options. So that's called premium selling. So the purpose is just to make money, make profit if price remains within those short strikes. And let's note that SPX has shown this blue buying support, time decay support all day, at least in this view now. That wasn't the case earlier today. Kind of neutral charm pressure, and as price now will step forward in time. A little bit of selling pressure due to time decay, and now that has turned positive. Let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so Bookmap finding some resistance, or ES finding a resistance at this cluster of levels, and that is the SPX 58.45, 58.50 just above that, and again also the lower weekly expected move. The one code wants to take a look at Amazon. Yeah, we can do that. Amazon very choppy in the morning, that starts to rise with other stocks, 11:45. All right, back to, let's take a quick look at NASDAQ. Also finding resistance. All right, back to ES. All right, Duzman asks, what options trading platform would you recommend to sim trade with? For sim trading, I would recommend Thinkorswim with Charles Schwab. Thinkorswim. It does have sim trading, although the fills are not realistic at all. But you can do what I did this morning. This is not something that I put on. I just wanted to answer the one code's question about the iron condor by showing this representation of the iron condor here. So you can do this, or you can actually, once you open an account, you can have access to sim trading. And I also recommend for options trading Tasty Trade, but they do not have sim trading at all. So if you're interested in starting in sim, definitely want to take a look at Thinkorswim. So hope that answers your question. All right, back to Bookmap. Again, finding some resistance here. Charm again showing potential pinning at 58.35, 58.70. Index hero signal starting to turn down, and the equity signal flattening out. All right, everyone, I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. I am open to your feedback. Please let me know what you want to see. If you're more interested in stocks, more interested in futures, just let me know, and I'll be glad to accommodate what you ever want to see. Oh, there's one request for Coinbase. I'll take a look at that real quick. I do not have that in a Bookmap. Pretty choppy day in Coinbase here. This is another hero pattern, hero chart that I find difficult to trade. All right, everyone. Again, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you on Monday. Remember, jobs report Friday morning. All right, everyone, thanks. See you later. Bye.